Welcome to another episode of Above Average Black Men. Yours truly, Chris Bender Sr.
Devin Pender here. We're here to remind you to like, follow, subscribe, share, comment, because what we do here is empower, inspire, and uplift the community.
And we're missing our partner in crime tonight, Chris, again. Say he's going to call in, so hopefully he's call in. I don't know how he's going to do it, but hopefully hit us up and join the conversation. It's summertime, man.
Man. Yeah, it's hot out there.
Well, I knew you got the guns out. I'd have mine out too, but
it's hot out there and in here.
Come on, man. We got air. Mm-hmm. Anyway, excited about this episode. We're going to talk about music. Mm-hmm. And so I want to start with a question. Do you think music mirrors society or does society mimic music? A lot of M's in there.
A lot of M's, just like a tongue twister kind of thing. In my opinion, I think there was a point where it didn't mirror society. It was just, music was just music. But I feel like now music has began to shape a lot of society. Just because your favorite artist does this or they seem to use this product, that seems like the way society goes. So I feel like nowadays it does shape society where, you have people listen to rap music and then they want to be just like the rappers, not knowing that it's a fabrication.
All right, so I think it's a combination of both. And the reason why I think music mimics society because you look at rap music. They rap about what they see, how they live, and it becomes a hit. So they're mimicking the music is coming off of the way they live, and people can relate to it. Especially people in the hood, they hear this stuff, man, and can relate. And then I think it's the other way around because, I think society does mimic music because the more music becomes popular, the more people pick up those lifestyles. Mm-hmm. So I think that is so true. Advertisement, advertisers know it. You've heard this analogy I use all the time. If you go into a store like Foot Locker or, they're playing rap music, they're playing tempo music that young people can relate to because that's the number one market. That's the demographic who buys the most sneakers and spend the most money. Most people, older people go in there on a sale rack. Look at the clearance rack. Young people go in there, and I say it's a setup because they go in there and, you got the music pumping and they jamming, and you got all the girls in the tight black stuff, and they just spending money trying to impress the girls, trying to get the numbers, which they never get. So I think, marketing has figured out a way to do it, how to get society to mimic music. Because, like in my day, Run DMC wore Adidas, and they made a song about Adidas, so everybody was buying Adidas. Mm-hmm. And that was a hit song. I don't think anybody raps about sneakers now, but it was a hit song. So I think, so it was an influence. And I think the other way around, because if you look at a lot of stuff what's going on now, mm-hmm. people will sit back and watch music and they will develop trends off of it. So, I'm not up on today's artists, but, for the most part, that's typically what happens. And I'm trying to think of some songs. I'm terrible at this, but they'll pick up like a basketball player, for instance. He'll have it's a certain song that'll go kind of unnoticed, and then the basketball players start playing it becomes big. If you go into a Macy's now or to a department store like that, they're playing music from my generation. They're playing Stevie Wonder, mixing up with some Marvin Gaye. I think Sexual Healing is a theme song they play in all the stores, so it does.
Yeah, and it's clear that there's an indication, sounds affect your mood, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like when you hear a lot of like different songs from back then, like the Marvin Gaye's of the world, different things like that, that puts a good feeling in you. And when that puts a good feeling in you, you're more likely to, maybe want to spend some money at that establishment, or you may want to do certain things, that you associate with the feeling in that song. So that is a proven thing. This also could be used in a negative tool as well, too. When I say that, I mean, you listen to a lot of, I'm using rap music because that's like one of my favorite genres of music. That's what I listen to most nowadays. You listen to a lot of these rap songs, it's shaping the way a lot of these young kids think. When you talk about, the killing of other black people or, disrespect of black women, like stuff like that kind of, it turns out to have a negative impact on our culture.
It does, but I think they understand it. If I go back to, like, if I go into a store and I'm in there and I'm kind of hanging out with your mom, I'm chilling, and Beach Boys are playing. Nah, I'm not into it, man. No, but then like Marvin Gaye come on, Sexual Healing.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in the store, white, black, red, Chinese, everybody's bopping now.
Yeah.
And it changes your whole countenance. It changes your whole demeanor. So now I'm more likely to spend money. Because when you're happy, you get a little freer. And I also use the analogy as elevator music.
Mm-hmm.
It's the reason why they don't play all that music on the elevator, because they don't want you jumping up and down on the elevator. So you get this kind of music. So it kind of, to me, is a combination of both. I think both were equally dangerous, because I think like back in the day when the 60s music is all about love and peace. So, not a lot of harmful. It wasn't too harmful. But then if you fast forward to a lot of stuff that's going on now, kill, destroy, rape, using, the derogatory names for females, that changes things drastically. And a lot of young people growing up think, because it's a culture, it's considered a culture now. Hip hop is a culture. They think that becomes a norm and it's a way of life. So music is definitely influencing them, good or bad. And I say it all the time. There's some products, that if I start, like for my generation, if I start saying to all beef patties, especially soft leather cheese, they're gonna finish the song. That was McDonald's, quarter pound and cheese. Yeah. That was the theme song. To tell you how important music was, if you go back and look at the 80s, KFC was getting clobbered by Church's Chicken. McDonald's was getting beat up by Burger King. Popeyes that came, all these little things that floated on the scene that was kind of giving them running money for KFC. BMW, all of a sudden, black people stopped buying Cadillacs, they started buying BMWs. Yeah. And what they did was they used music to twist it around. All of a sudden you had the rapping Colonel. Mm-hmm. This guy in a white suit with a white beard, he's rapping and jamming the curve. McDonald's, who always passed it all, it became a big thing. And, they had this dude, and then now I can't think of his name. He was Worker. But he's a young black dude.
I think I know.
Yeah, I can't think of his name. Because we used to call people that. It's a young black dude. Cadillac had a black woman on the hood of the car for the first time, in the history of Cadillac, and the music changed. So it does, marketers have understood. They understand how to use music almost like the Pied Piper in a sense. Yeah. We don't realize it, but they do.
So I kind of want to get your opinion on because I typed in on Google to see what other articles or possible said, and this one source said music is a symbol of connecting people and their values based on shared experiences. It's an important component of society as means by which certain groups of people define themselves and their relationship to the rest of the world.
So I'm a challenge part of that. I don't think it's always on shared experiences. There's people like hip hop that never been in the hood a day in their life,
and vice versa. Yeah, people like country music, like we really care.
That's the analogy I was going to say. So I think that at one time that may have been true, and I think especially if I go back to slavery because of the way they communicated, because that's how they got messages across in their songs. Yeah. Me, by they song clues of where to go. But I think now it's more as people attracted by the beat. Yeah. People attracted by the artist. There's some artists who will stand the test of time. Michael Jackson. I always use when I'm talking to kids. Mike's still getting paid. He owns some of the Beatles rights. He owns his stuff. He's still getting paid, and his music is still being used in commercials. So whoever has his catalog or whoever is his beneficiary, every time they use his music in a commercial, he get paid. Pepsi knew they put Michael Jackson in a Pepsi commercial because they knew he would sell Pepsi. Folk who didn't drink Pepsi was now buying Pepsi because Michael Jackson, the king of pop, he was drinking soda pop. So they know how to work music. The music students know how to work music. They know what genres you put it and what to put where. So it's interesting, man. And then you have a lot of young people mimicking what they see or especially when the videos came on the scene, it really took off. And MTV and all music videos started popping on, man, it really took off. And then the third tier, where it is now, when BET started recognizing it in awards, it really, really shot up. The rocket blasted off to the moon now, because now it's probably gets more hype than any other genre on the BET Awards now. They recognize it. So I think, and I'm not saying it's bad, but I think music definitely works both ways. I think society mimics music, and I think sometimes music, mirrors society.
I don't know. sometimes I feel like I said back then, I feel like it did mirror society, especially when you talk about a lot of early like rock and roll and rap. Those were things that people were going through back then.
Yeah.
Where it's now is like you find out a lot of these people, their beginnings are fabricated.
Well, rap. I mean, in rap is okay. Rap is a perfect example.
Yeah.
When rap originated, it was storytelling. Which originated from when folk tales and stuff was being passed down, or like I said before, when the slaves had to sing because they couldn't tell they were meeting that because everybody knew, so rap kind of came out of stories and things of that nature. And it used to be, you had people like Run DMC, Public Enemy, they were rapping about things that were actually going on. LL Cool J, the Roundaway Girl, most people don't have a clue what I'm talking about, but you gotta let them in. Chris is trying to get on IG. But it's different now. It's a whole different world we live in now. And I think a lot of it has to do because of social media. We got to text up and get you a camera, man. I think because of social media, we definitely have to, and I know Chris would love that portion of it. I think social media has changed it a lot too. Because now you can put stuff right up there, and because it has such a huge audience now, and is instantly shown around the world. At least back in the day, you had to film it, wait till it hit TV. Now it's like you can get stuff in real time. So that's giving music another platform that it didn't have.
Yeah.
You had to buy a record. Now buy a record, man. You can download it for 99 cents. You can bootleg it. It's so many different ways.
You can download it for 99 cents. As soon as they drop it, you can listen to it right then and there.
And I think that became a heavy influence because now people are talking about stuff that are in the news. If I'm rapping about, murder and mayhem, and that's current news, I can relate to this. If I'm rapping about, I man on my back, I just came home from work. I can relate to what you're talking about. So I think all those things, have kind of impacted, both ways. That it does impact society because society looks at it and says that's cool. Because music now sets the tempo for what's cool, realistically or not. Maybe I'm using the wrong word cool, different generation, but it does. And on the other hand, people look around society and see what's going on. Hey, I can talk about that. It can be some of the dumbest stuff, but they talk about
it. Yeah, I mean, I think music today is looked at in so many different ways compared to when it was probably originally started or founded. Like it actually probably meant a lot more. Like it was some type of outlet for point in time. And today, I mean, I feel like it's a lot more. Nobody really cares about the substance of what people are saying. It's more about, I heard you mention in reference to this, like, oh, that's a catchy beat, or like that. Yeah. Those words are repetitive and catchy for me to say. It doesn't even matter, like, if I believe in it or if I live that type of life. It's just like it's a cool thing to say or do. So I think like music has changed over time. Like I think it's a lot more. There's still some people out there who try to do it with meaning and from a place where the music actually kind of elevates people or put them in a certain different mindset. But to do it, like Devin mentioned, I heard him say too, it's like these people who don't even live the life they're talking about, but they put it on the record because they know that it's going to sell. Like that, some people do live or have that mindset and it appeals to a certain population of people. So I think it's a group of people out here who try to separate it from entertainment, but it's still a group of people out here who kind of live that life and actually kind of listen to some of those words and take heed to those things.
But it still comes down to like the powers that be who wants you to listen to that music or who wants that type of music to come out. It's these record labels that people have to really start holding accountable.
Let me give you the question that kind of started our conversation off. Was I asked the question was, do you think society music mirrors society or society mimics music? Like what? And I say it's a combination of both. I think and I think some of what you said kind of feeds into what I'm saying because now, I'm in your favorite topic, social media feeds into it because now it's instant. It's not like you got to wait till you get out there. It's out there. So you get to see people's reaction right away. So Devin posted a video rapping a song about turned over a trash truck and I see all the likes he got what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna jump on now, and I got my version, you know. And I think that these trends start, you know. And then on the other hand, what I said was, it works the other way too, because you know, people look around in society and see things, you know, and they'll turn into a song or something. Like, you know, this is before your time. Rodol Yankovic was a guy who he made parodies. He took songs and made parodies out of it. And at the time he did it, it was a big deal because people were making fun of government. People were making fun of so many things, you know. And you know, he was able to do that and take us like a Michael Jackson song and turn it into something funny, and people liked it. Now he wouldn't even sell a millisecond of a record today. It just wouldn't fly, you know. But then there's people like Michael Jackson and Prince who transcend time. You know, they go across the line and they influence a lot of people. You know, Jimi Hendrix influenced Prince. You know, I hear artists now who I would never think of say Prince influenced me. You know, so I think it's a combination of both.
And it's like, while you're saying that, I mean, I do see it is kind of a combination of both. But then it's also, I really kind of lean into probably more that it's a sign of the times.
Yeah.
Like, I think about kind of the era that in which you guys grew up in and how, like thinking about specifically probably more R&B. You know, like that was a lot more poetic and like, you know, everything is so direct and reckless. Like
because I think that
that's a sign of the times a little bit too, because our culture is like that, like where it's not the same. Like it's just even how we date. I think it's reflected in our.
But see, you just proved my point where I think that's the other side of the coin where, you know, society does mimic music. Like I'll give you an example. You know, music is usually different, has a different meaning to my generation because music was more or less. Well, wait a minute. I'm saying because music was more or less used to set moods. You know, it was. So it wasn't just the beat; it was the words too. You know, I love music, and I know I had this probably, you know, silly superstition. I listened to the same song before I had a game. I had different songs, you know, because songs would change a year. But that was I had it on, and I would walk out in the floor or walk out in the field. I use it to motivate me. You know, so I had to be to understand the words. Now, to your point, it is the beat that they get fired up off the beat and different things. And I do agree it's a difference in generations, but I think that's also what I'm talking about is how music means is different. Now people don't care about the words. You know, I talk to young people, oh man, the beat. You know, when I was coming up, the words mattered. You know, we wanted to understand the words. You know, we like rap. Rap had meanings behind it, you know, whether, you know, it was Run DMC, whether it was Public Enemy, you know, people rapping about the time. Flavor Flav had, you know, they had his whole group had a song on 911 about 911 is a joke. You know, everything you could understand the words and everything had a meaning. And we were into the meaning. Now it's NWA, huh?
Yeah. Society dictates the music, like those things that
that's
are
to
going
your point.
on,
Yeah.
influences the music that's put out there. And like I just again even thinking about more so culturally today, like what we hear is certainly reflected in our schools and in our with the kids and with what's going on in the community. I'm even thinking specifically like kind of there was a point in time where drill music was like just a thing. And at that same point in time, like that's when murders is high. You got Chirac, you got Philadelphia where it's like crazy. So and then the music certainly reflected like what was going on within our cities. So I do think like, and again, I keep representing because now you kind of see it with our hip hop and women's hip hop and how aggressive they talk, and how they sound, and some of our women kind of act in these aggressive.
But I want to challenge you here though, because see, I think that works both ways. I do agree that it's influencing people, but I also think, you know, I think it works the other way around, where it's also influencing the music. You know, because, you know, to your point, and even let me say this too, but even that's being influenced by somebody else, by the powers to be who control we listen to. But I think people who Devin read a definition earlier about, and one part of the definition was that people had shared experiences. And I don't think that's always true, but I think I can live vicariously through this guy rapping this song. You know, I ain't never shot anybody in my entire life, but I know it sells. So I can pull my pants down and turn my hat sideways and put in a rap song. And because you live in a culture who and I know I'm gonna get in trouble for saying this, is when it comes to looking into stuff and checking what's actually real, is pretty illiterate when it comes to that. They take a lot of stuff at face value. And we always had this conversation about politics. We're not gonna go to today, but we do. We take stuff at face value. So somebody would come, Vanilla Ice. Vanilla Ice came out with some rich white dude, and he had everybody believing he was some dude. He never been in the hood in his life. But he dressed up like the person, learned how to talk like it, and he sold records. Well, he only ran one hit, so I shouldn't say records, but Ice Baby. Yeah, so it's kind of. I think it's both. I think music influences society, and I think at times society influences music.
So, real quick, I just want to hear what y'all say.
Devin is becoming our research guy. He every week he like talking the facts. Go ahead.
And this is kind of like what Dad was talking about earlier. I did see this article that said music is an essential aspect of all human civilization.
It is.
And has the power to emotionally, morally, and culturally affect society.
Man, let me tell you, when Marvin Gaye and Teddy Pendergrass, they was out there singing "Turn Off the Lights and Let's Get It On." That's where the baby boomers came from, man. They was turning off the lights and they was getting it on. So music does. And we were talking about it before you get in here. First of all, you came on. If you walk into a sneaker store, they're not playing Amazing Grace. They're not playing Marvin Gaye. They're not playing country music. They're playing music, rap music, because they know that sells to that population. If you walk into Macy's ain't playing that. Macy's not playing that kind of music. You get on the elevator, you ain't gonna hear any of that.
I mean, but that's any store, every store. You go to the mall, play that upbeat music that make you feel good, walking around.
But it's different styles though. Like I said, if you walk into Macy's, you're not gonna hear rap music. You hear Marvin Gaye, Let's Get It On. You hear kind of stuff like that. Now if I go down to the sneaker Foot Locker, I'm not gonna hear Marvin Gaye. I'm not gonna hear Stevie Wonder. I hear Busta Rhymes, but
Busta Rhymes. You're not gonna hear no Busta Rhymes no more, dog.
Yes, I will.
That's true though. That just is kind of like a prime example of like the impact that music has on us on the day level. Like it's so much deeper than people probably would think. Like again, the music that we listen to when we're in the store, the music that plays on the commercials on TV, that's very specific to what type of stories they want to portray or what the messaging is. And I think it is overlooked sometimes. Actually, like that what we take in kind of breathes life sometimes.
I was like, if you hear da 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 da, you anticipate something automatically. Automatically. I was cracking up because when we were trying to go through the cars, and what did you say? They played at every older barbecue, the Frankie Beverly song. So I mean, music does, or it's before your time. I say it again. If I say 2 all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, sesame, everybody knows it's a quarter pounder. People, it's been decades since that's been out. People my age start singing it. Coke had a thing that became popular. All these people, it's the real thing. I mean, and these songs that get in your head and they stay in your head. And when you hear it, you think of the product. You think of the product. Like there's commercials just play Michael Jackson's song, or they'll play somebody's song because they know when people hear the song, they'll stop. And then they'll look at the product.
So do y'all think it will ever get to a point where it can be used for a purpose like it used to be used back in the day, as a tool for a message or for a positive movement? Some substance.
This is probably the first time in the history of this show that I'm going to be the naysayer. No. Nah, you know what? I think the sample size may grow a little bit, but it makes too much money. It makes too much money. If I can sell a song about blowing up the neighborhood and it goes platinum, and I'm going to make a song about planting flowers and it barely makes the charts, what do you think I'm going to do? That's what's coming out now.
He has so many albums that were, you could say, are poetic, thought-provoking, talk about...
Oh, we missed it. Who did you say?
Kendrick Lamar.
Oh, yeah, I know you're talking about. Yeah. See, now he could have been a crooner back in my day.
But then he makes this one song talking about Drake, the diss track. And this is one of the popular things that he's ever done. And, we're going crazy about it, but it just shows like some people think this is their first time finding this guy, and like I said, he's been putting out like positive records. So it's like just feeding into what you say, that the negativity sells. Like people they want to see people clash and go back and forth. They want to hear people just kind of talking trash and nonsense about how great they are, how bad other people are, how rich you are, how broke you are. It makes, I don't understand it, but it makes people feel good. Makes people feel good. And even just kind of thinking about the music and how it puts you in a mood, like, you know, as an athlete, all of us, typically we listening to things that get you hyped. You know, we listening to kind of a beat or a certain style of music that puts you in a certain mood to perform or be a certain way. And that applies to, I think, again, like to everything, like we're saying with shopping or like if you're just home relaxing, but just the idea, I think people need to be more conscious of what they listen to. It's something that I wanted to, you know, be sure that we at least touch upon here today. So, Dev, I know you've been firing them questions hot. Dev, you got anything else that you wanted to kind of fire away with?
But I think, and I think the different, and this is why I think I say I find it very difficult to believe that music could go back, because the thing about today, there's not a lot of messages that make people think. Back in the day, fight the power. You know, you had these songs. You know, go fuck James Brown. I'm black and I'm proud. You know, you had these songs that made you think about what was happening around you. You know, and that made you think about what was currently happening in society. You know, and I don't know if people want to do that now. I don't know if people want to hear songs about, you know, George Floyd getting murdered. You know, I don't know if that still will resonate with this generation. I just don't.
Many things to think about. That's part of the problem. I don't think we can probably even come together.
Well, I agree, but I think that's why it doesn't sell.
Everything is so quick. It's like,
yeah,
I care, like it, and then it just dissipates.
I mean, I think, you know, we become a country of imitations, and you know, and we imitate, we follow. There's not a whole lot of originality. So if somebody comes up like Kendrick Lamar and start doing stuff like that again, you know, people like, man, you know.
So why do you guys think a lot of these different artists, you know, are afraid to go against, you know, what an industry wants them to push out, and actually push out the meaningful stuff they want to talk about, or the real things they want to talk about? And of course, I know people are going to say money, but
it is money.
Other than money, like, do you think there's other factors besides money? Is what I'm trying to get at.
I think money is the main factor. For instance, if somebody comes out and says, you know, when you have, artists go over to be Christian artists, a lot of them go back because they're not making that money. You know, when you out there rapping in the world, you know, like Mace, when he was doing all the stuff he was doing, he was getting paid. But when he went to the other side of the track, he wasn't getting paid. So you got to be really committed to that, because you sacrifice your lifestyle, unless you got stuff stacked up far enough to support you, you know. And so that's part of it. Unless you somebody like a Kirk Franklin, or, you know, you kind of get your niche, who, by the way, never sang a song in his life. He the only guy I know that's called a singer, and all he does is talk. I know I just heard all y'all Kirk Franklin fans. I like him too, but he don't. He just talks. You know, he don't even rap. He just talks. So, but he created a niche for himself. He created a niche for himself, which is rare. You know, there's not a lot of artists out there. Like, if you ask the average person to give you 5 gospel artists, you know, I mean, good, they couldn't tell you. You know, look at Dante Bowe from Maverick City. I don't know if you know his or not, but he was singing in Maverick City, a gospel group, and they were doing pretty good as a group. You know, he had a lot of rapper friends. You know, so he starts hanging out with them. So he gets kicked out of the group, and now, you know, he's singing. Not gospel music, because gospel music is about the life and the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. But he got that beat now. You know, he has the beat of the worldly beat in his music. Majesty, the one I play, and stuff like that. You know, because he know he's going to get paid. You know, but if he shows up singing Amazing Grace, I love the song, but how much is he going to make? So I think money, you know, money probably, and I don't know because I'm not in a position, but I think money has to be probably like 70% of, you know, or what sways them.
But when does your morality come into play?
Me or them?
I'm just asking, like, when do you wake up and realize, like, oh, maybe this stuff I'm putting out is adding to the destruction of whatever community you want to support.
How many rappers have you heard say, well, I'm only telling the truth? So I think morality is something, first of all, morality has become a word that's subjective. It's subjective because people will say, well, it happens every day. Like that makes it right because it happens every day. I think it's a lot of stuff that I think is immoral has become a norm. And music has a lot to do with it. Because if I'm listening to music, it tells me it's okay to call this girl the word we are, a female, a pregnant dog. If it's okay for me to say that, I say it becomes my norm. So now anything outside of that is wrong. Because my norm is this is the way we talk. And I think that's what you're starting to see happen. And because you don't see more and more, like I grew up, man, you had Luther Vandross, you had guys who sang. But that was the norm. I remember when Luther Vandross and Busta Rhymes did a song together. And it was like, man, you talking about two of the worldest combination, but it was actually pretty good. Huh?
What song is this? Luther and Busta?
Yeah, they did a song together. I can't think of it, but I'm gonna get the name of. Yeah, you Google it. They did a song together. Why? See what I mean? See how Chris was like, what? How did that happen? And I actually like Busta Rhymes.
Yeah, I like them too. But that's an odd character never in my life. But I thought like.
Yeah, but that's how you. But that's you get on the cutting edge. But then adversely, you had when Fred Hammond was trying to work with Snoop Dogg, that became a big problem. That became a big problem, man. So I mean,
Since we talking, do you see anything wrong with kind of that crossing or blending of music and genres? Because, like in my mind, I think that's an opportunity to maybe expand the message or get into a particular area where you may not have a touch. Like you see that with, of course, older artists doing that with younger artists when they remixing their songs and trying to make some of those connections. But what do you think about that cross genre where you might have?
Real quick, the song was called "Lovely Day Part 2" with Luther Vandross and Busta Rhymes.
But no, what do you think about that though?
I mean, see, I think it depends on what it is. I think, and I'll play both sides of the track. I got what Fred Hammond was saying. He said, "Hey, Snoop Dogg reached out to him, and I'm changing my life. I feel like I'm being led by God to do this. Who am I to judge? Unless he was showing up smoking dope and getting high, who am I to judge? And I get Fred Hammond's part of it because how else do you witness to somebody? You know what I mean? Unless you get a chance to be around and influence them. So, it's interesting. But there's some people, like guys who get up on the award show and they cursing every fight, blankety, 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 blank. And I want to thank God. Now, come on, man, dude, that's kind of, that right there is what I'm talking about. But I think it's a case by case. Like if you would have never told me Busta Rhymes and Luther that I would like it, but when I heard the song, it was actually pretty good. But to your point, I don't think it became a huge hit because people were struggling because back then it was either one or the other. Either you were Luther, you were that, or you were in the rap. I don't think people were appreciating the two coming together to make a song. It's like it's like one generation, like, come on, man, we don't listen to that because. Well, because rap has changed. I grew up with, Curtis Blow, These Are the Breaks. I grew up when people rapped about stuff, Public Enemy, Run DMC. They rapped about things that was happening around, things you could look at and relate to. Now, I can barely understand what they're saying, and it wasn't cursing and calling names. It was about stuff, man. And now it's just different. So I think that started to split between music because people were like, man, I'm not listening to that. Huh?
I think the music that we hear now, like some of these kids feel like that's life, like that's how they're supposed to be living.
But that's Devin's point, and this Devin's point and part of my point. It's not though. So this is where society mimics music.
I mean, for some it is, and like for some it's not.
The average kid listens to them songs, man. They ain't out there killing people and raping, and they may think they Joe Thug, but they ain't really Joe Thug. Who go that far. And I'm not saying they may not get exposed to it, but I think that's where society mimics music. Because I hear this, and I to you, Chris, because I'm exposed to this, now I think that's the way I'm supposed to live. That's the definition of manhood. And this is where it gets tricky because music plays, and you said it, music plays. I think people who listening to it don't understand how huge, how large the impact music is. I think they don't get it. But if everything you around that's in society, well, not everything, probably 99% of it, music is involved. When you go to a sporting event, what they get you pumped up with music. The Rocky thing. It's a perfect example. Everybody plays the Rocky thing. And that how long ago's that been? They put that song on, people in Philadelphia go crazy. And they do. They go, and it's not even real, real character, and he got a statue. So music has such a huge impact, man. You look at Sesame Street. Remember Sesame Street? I know you remember that. They use music, songs, and stuff like that to teach. If you look at now, even now, you look at wrestling. Every wrestler got a theme song. Every wrestler got their own theme song now to come out, man. And I'm not knocking them, saying because they understand.
Like little jingles,
yeah, because they understand the impact of music. If you watching something on TV and it goes da da da, something about to happen.
Yeah.
And then when it doesn't happen, you feel bad. Like, man, they set me up.
Even speaking of, I think people even overlook stuff like that, like in your movies, your TV shows, the suspenseful music, like everything is priming you for something.
Oh yeah, everything. Yeah, everything is, man.
It is priming you for something. It's a reason behind why somebody is using a certain type of beat to relate this song or relate this message, which is another style of, and that just applies to whether it's a commercial, a song that people are creating to put on a record, like out in the streets. Like, it's just kind of, I don't know. People look at music from face value, entertainment.
I'm perfect. Perfect example. The highlights of sport, when the sports highlights came on, it wasn't. It was different type of music. And now they got somebody rapping. They got somebody. It's a whole different thing. Before I'm watching Vince Carter dunk, and the music was like, to me, it was like almost comparing black and white music to color TV. Because, you watch Vince Carter back in the day, it was, because, the music was okay. Now, you got somebody in the background rapping, the music is playing, it's loud, everything going on, and they striking, when he dunked, they got the right beat when he dunked, man, and, whoever does it is genius because they always seem to match the right song with it, so now you more engaged. And there's people who don't watch basketball who get off on that kind of stuff because of music. How many people watch the Super Bowl for the halftime show? Music is in, and I think society has recognized it. We haven't recognized the power in it. That's why you buy a car with 20 speakers. I don't know why you need a car with 20 speakers, but you buy a car with 20 speakers. People spend more they spend more on the sound system than they do in the car sometimes. Guy got a hoopty.
You gotta have a nice sound system.
Say what the devil just say. I'd rather have a nice car.
It's the bass. You gotta hear the bass. Now, I do have an interesting question. Like, do you think music can shape the perception of somebody's, how do I say this? I'll just say it. Do you think music can, like, change the perception of a group of certain people? Like, for example, like, you have a perception of people from the country because you listen to some of the songs that you hear. You're like, oh, they talk about drinking a lot.
Yeah. Well, of course it does. Well, you got to remember, country music, came out of the blues. I know people are going to hate it when I say that, but it came out of the blues, and that's what the blues were. The blues was about what you were going through in life. My cat ate my goldfish. My dog ate my cat. The dog pound came and got the dog. My wife left me. What's the song? You picked the fine time to leave me, Lucille, with 8 hungry children, crops in the field, no food on the table. That's what it was, and people, it told the story. Then it evolved into country music, which is some country music is pretty good. And then it evolved into the rap thing. And now but the difference is those songs rapped about something. Now you got some folk just get up there and they just, like your mom and I, we actually tried to watch the BET Awards. Besides the fact that I didn't know any of the artists. We were like, who's this? Crazy read all the names they had. Like, who are these people? See, Usher, I knew. That's how I felt old. Usher, I knew, man. I knew two people. I knew Usher. I knew Megan Thee Stallion. I didn't know anybody else. So we looked at each other like, who's this? Who's that? Who's that? And I didn't even know who she was. I knew the name. I didn't know who she was. So that's how out of touch I am when it comes to. Now, if you put on a gospel show, come on, we can go at it. But that's the difference. I listen to gospel music or inspirational music because there's a difference. Because it calms me down. When I need to be lifted up, I'm listening to a different kind of gospel. I'm listening to more inspirational music. Because that's me. When I'm in the car, that's what I want to listen to 99% of the time. When I'm in my office, that's what I got on 99% of the time. When you see my headphones on, that's what I got on. I listen to some R&B, but it's different. Your mom is different. She likes more up-tempo stuff, and I'm also noticing in a lot of inspirational music, it's starting to pick up that Caribbean beat. It's starting to pick up. It's starting to be influenced by,
Afro beats and all that taking over.
Good with music now, like even when you talk about kind of from a religious standpoint, like people want a little bit more new age. The church wants to get younger. They want to change, and that's also I think applies to the music, add a little flavor to it.
We don't need no new age.
Add a little flavor to that music.
Well, okay, what's no flavor? But see, to me, that's a thin line, and I say it's a thin line. I've always been an advocate for updating music to make it meet the time, but it's a thin line because some churches go too far. Like there was a pastor, bishop, whatever you want to call him, that played the worldly song on New Year's Eve, and he didn't play the uncut version. I mean the cut version. He played the uncut version, and people were coming at him, and I don't know what was worse, the fact that he played it, the fact that 99% of his congregation was dancing to it, so they knew this song. So anyway, it's some rapper, so I don't even know the name of it but the big thing was because. His thing was, look at all the people I'm bringing to Christ. Now, my comeback is, you bringing them in with that music, but that's not what you're going to be playing on Sundays. You're not going to be playing that on Sundays. So that's a bait and switch. I'm coming down because you got Snoop Dogg talking about, getting high and drinking 40s or gin and juice. Then I'm showing up on Sunday, I ain't hearing gin and juice. I'm not hearing that.
Introduce him to it on Sunday,
No, he's not. Come on, man. And then I think music has its place, and I think there's certain music that does not have a place in church.
The blending of it though, because you do see, there are, I would say, Christian artists who probably use beats that sound more secular, but they're still talking about positive things.
But that's different, and it depends on what it is. I don't have a problem with that because. I say this all the time. When I was a youth pastor, this is my biggest argument when people started coming at Kirk Franklin. If I sat down and played the B flat, you couldn't tell me that's a Christian B flat or a heathen B flat because it's B flat. So I don't get into that. And my real quick version, I used to say, Satan was the worship angel before he got sent down to earth. So what he did, he takes music and he corrupts it. So I think that's how you really got to look at it from that point of view. But getting back to what I'm talking about. People shouldn't be twerking in church. That ain't the place to be twerking, bro. I mean, you can say whatever you want to say. It ain't. But music and people who play that music, they know the effect it has on people. It's like if it's certain songs that I listen to now. Like I used to listen to this song when I was playing ball. Must Be the Music. Love that song, man. I had the headphones, man. The Walkman. I know you don't know what the Walkman is. But you know what the Walkman is? All right, and I had my Walkman, and I had the metal ones. The metal ones, man, they also would take a cassette, but you couldn't tell me nothing. But you know what? I listened to that, before games, and I got stoked off it. It was funny because Devin don't like him. I was laughing. I was listening to it the other day. So when I was in Nike, what I do? I bought me some throwback Air Jordans, man, the 3/4 ones I used to wear when I was playing ball. Brand new pair. I was like, yo, okay. You couldn't tell me I wasn't. I came out there high as a kite. I was like, yeah. So music does have that effect. Now, I wouldn't expect to be in church and hear that song. Because if I'm in church and I hear that song, I'm not thinking about church when that song is playing. I'm thinking about where I first heard of that.
Understood.
I'm just saying. And I'm thinking about the experiences when I heard that song, what I was doing.
So, I'm actually watching on my phone and it's about to die, so I'm just like, in case this drops.
Well, I'll give you another perfect example, Chris, and you relate to this one. Remember you were playing Cheney? Yeah, but the thing was, you never saw the halftime show. The halftime show was crazy. They actually played. I can't think of the song. Get over it. Tonto. I can't think of the name of the song. Jump on it. Jump on it. And they actually, the music would come on, and I'm laughing because the white people, was appalled. Three-quarters of the stand got on the floor and started dancing. I had never seen. The only thing I saw close to that was when y'all played that booty stick. But that's music.
We come back early enough and see it was like a party at halftime.
And that's what music did. Music brought everybody. Man, when that song came on, people didn't care. People didn't care if you were pre-med or if you were a teacher or if you were, an artist. Yo, they hit the full because music can do that. Music can do that. Bowie like Chester High. They had a different culture, man, and the girls would come out and cheer. The cheerleaders was different, so it has a huge impact. It gets the crowd riled up. Now, if you took that same music and put out there in Lower Merion, I don't know if you had the same effect. I don't think they coming out the same dancing. So where it is has a whole lot to do with it. Where it is has a lot to do with it, man, and it is, and I'm a music lover. I love all. I can get into all types of music. It was good. It was good. I can, I can listen to some John Coltrane, man. I can go down, But I think part of the problem is we don't understand the impact music has on us. I'll give you the perfect example. When the line dancing song come on, man, folk come running out the bathroom. They come running from everywhere. Folk ain't dance all night long. Let that song come on, man. Folk, as soon as it's over, they go back to what they were doing.
Really just simplified music, like it probably held a lot more meaning at a point in time, because it was a device to tell stories, relay how you feel, but now it's just like, about feeling good and partying, and like I said, it's purely entertainment. I don't think it holds the same vibe. I can't see it necessarily even kind of going back to that. I think we are going to still have artists who probably use it as that medium to tell a story and share thoughts and opinions at the time, but I think it's simply going to continue to trend in this direction of just people looking at it as a source of entertainment.
It's making too much money. It's making look what it did to the BET Awards. It's making too much money. It went from a category onto the BET Awards when it first came out to now BET talking about it's the culture. It's different now, man. Salt and Pepper and them, when they all came out, they were doing their thing. It's nothing compared to what's happening now. And part of it is your favorite topic, social media, because with social media, everything is happening right now.
Yeah. And I just watched this documentary about the Arsenio Hall. He kind of really helped and contributed with blowing up black artists around.
Putting them on the show.
But then after that, that's when you start to have the white shows trying to tap in and get that culture.
They did, because before everybody else had those, everybody else's bands were a little. I'm not going to say corny because but it was corny. He had the band that was jamming, so everybody started going that way. So then you had, the guy. What's the guy from Quest, the drummer, Tribe Called Quest? He on the show.
Questlove,
yeah, Questlove. You got these guys, because people starting to realize how important music is. If you look at some of the shows, you got now they got lip sync battles, and people tune in to see these lip sync. I was watching one that it was actually funny between Kevin Hart, Will Ferrell, and Jimmy Fallon. It was hilarious. It was funny. I gotta admit, it was very funny, man. But you have that now. Why? Because you lip sync. Who would lip sync 10 years ago? Nobody. Matter of fact, Milli Vanilli, remember them? They got kicked booed out for lip syncing. But now, but music is such a powerful tool. We just don't understand the power in it. And and again, I go back to it. You go to a sneaker store, man. They ain't playing no No, they're getting into it. Christmas time. That's why they got all them Christmas songs, because everybody laughing, enjoy, spending their money. Mad people don't spend money. People in good mood spend money. And music can change your mood, man. I think people don't realize it. If you listen to like if I'm just listening to a lot of slow stuff, I don't have the same energy, that I had when I started. But if I got some stuff pumping, I'm feeling good.
Now, do you think you could separate the person from the music?
Do you mean the artist?
Yeah.
No.
I think it's very difficult. I think to me it's very difficult because it goes back to what Chris said. When I hear that jingle or song, I automatically associate them with that. It may be wrong, but I do. I automatically associate them with that. It's just like, not music-wise, but when I say Tyler Perry, who do you think of? Madea. I'm just saying. So you do. You automatically associate them with that.
Or the thing about this what's her name, like JoJo Siwa or something like that? She used to be like this child star type thing. Like, he was grown, always acting like a child, but now she's trying to transition into this like adult singer, and it's just a weird. It's not going well for her because people still seeing her as this kind of this one way, and then now you're just completely trying to change your whole messaging, your style, and all that. So it's like, I don't know. It's hard to try to change that image. Like, think about back in the MC, Dad, back in the day, he dancing around with them baggy pants, and then next thing you know, he's having bumps in the butt. Like, that was a hard transition.
But that's a perfect example. He was also one of the first guys that people don't realize. Deion Sanders helped that whole thing about professional athletes getting theme songs because he adopted Too Legit to Quit. And now everybody, so white people had never heard that before, was now walking around Too Legit to Quit. No. I mean, but that's the power of music, because when that song used to come on when he was in Atlanta, people, when you be watching, everybody go crazy. They still remember him hop stepping to that song. That's the power of music, man. Music is powerful. And Deion don't get enough credit for that. But before him, athletes weren't having theme songs.
As I said, he definitely should be credited for a lot.
He should, but that also talks about how he understood. He was ahead of his time. He understood the whole marketing piece. He understood selling himself. He understood that he needed to create an image of himself that was not just appealing to just football fans. He needed to reach out and get new fans. He needed to appeal to people that like the cut, people that like Too Legit. So now I'm watching football because I'm going to see him on the sideline doing his thing. So there's a lot of people like that who understand and understood. James Brown was probably a genius before his time. He was the first black artist to own his own catalogs because he knew. And he knew the power. Yeah, he knew the power. Like, fight. Black power. The stuff he recognized the power of music. I'm gonna put in the record. People gonna buy the record. Everybody around talking about power to the and got the cones with the fists in the back and stuff like that. It does. Some people figured out early, some people never do. But to Devin's point,
we got a couple minutes left. I just thought this was random or funny because you said James Brown. Like, we talk about how. Like sometimes in today's music, you have no idea what people are saying. James Brown was guilty of that too.
No, it wasn't. You just had to have a good ear.
Actually, you can add Rick James in that too. There was something wrong.
Hold on, now y'all dogging everybody. Now you talking about Rick James.
Hey, add Rick James in that too, because there was something wrong. Like, bro, what are you talking about?
See, now y'all making fun of my people.
No, because it's like, you know what? Because y'all was doing it too. Like, y'all like a good beat. Y'all like a good beat. Y'all like what the band was putting down while James Brown just going,
But he wasn't singing. He had the good foot. I got the good foot. Yeah. He was groaning, man. He was letting you know he was into it. He wasn't talking words, though. He wasn't like he was saying, blah, blah, blah. No.
It's the same thing.
I got the feeling. He was letting you know he had the feeling. Woo! Then he did a little thing, man.
And to make that point, because sometimes I be thinking that, like, the older generations, y'all was getting into, y'all had some nonsense.
Like what? Like the 5 Heartbeats? It's still a classic. It's still a classic.
Yeah, there's some classics.
A house is, yeah.
Listen, someone commented, they agree with us.
Well, you and me.
With us. They said could barely understand Rick James and James Brown
man.
talking regularly.
Well, y'all got
So we're supposed to understand him in the song?
That was funny, but not true. That was funny, but not true, man. That was a good one, though. That was a good one, huh?
Collins and all them, like, they just talking crazy.
Who?
Bootsy Collins.
He's a rubber band man. Come on, man. Bootsy was cool. Bootsy came out in his diaper, man. Parliament Funkadelic. Come on, they were classics. Come on, baby. Yeah, it's Bootsy, baby. Yo, come on. They talk like Snoop Dogg. Talk like that now. And you can't get him off of TV. He about to make another $1 billion because who's the young quarterback that played in his league? That's all they talk about now. They played in Snoop Dogg.
CJ Stroud.
Yeah, he about to make another $1 million. So I'm just saying, Bootsy, come on. See, y'all don't see just like the basketball. We got to do the basketball thing. Bootsy was the man back then, man. Come on, man. Grand Central Station is. Come on, man. Sing them songs. Did you see the Moses Malone thing? Tell me he couldn't play today. We're going to do a show on that. You know what? This is what we're going to do. We're going to do a show. You're going to bring some players. I'm going to bring some players. Because I'm still upset with this dude over here talking about how few can do. What do you say, 14? We're going to talk about that, man. That's another show. But we're going to talk about that. Because I got dudes who can play.
Julius Erving is Andre Iguodala. And alone,
Caldwell Jones and
no, but they weren't stars. But if you look at guys like Jordan, I'm talking about George Gervin now, saying how in any era he would have been scoring like that.
That whole era.
And he had a cool name, the Iceman Cometh. Come on, man.
There's only 5 guys that
Oh, anyway, let's get back to music. Y'all, we're going to have to do a show on this NBA debate. But even if you look at sports, they've learned to use music, and it's funny because HBCUs knew this a long time ago. Because the worst football teams, people would not go see the football game; they would go see the halftime show. So they figured out a long time ago it was about music and showmanship. And you see the NFL doing it now. You see the NBA is doing it. More and more sports are starting to get into that because it draws people. It draws people.
It does. But I guess we got a few minutes left. Is there any type of closing last remarks, when it comes to our topic of the day of music and just how impactful that is?
Yeah, all y'all wrong. Wrong. Talking about Rick James and James Brown. Come on, man. Those guys are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Chuck Berry in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
If that doesn't change, then
they are icons, man.
They had some moments of
let me say, Rick James win leather before Eddie Murphy was.
That's an accomplishment.
That's cool.
I'm just saying, he set the trend so everybody started winning, and when him and Tina Marie firing design, they were killing that, man.
But still crazy.
They weren't killing that. Nah, I wasn't feeling the Jerry curl, but. I wasn't feeling the jerk and him smoking on the stage. I wasn't feeling that either. But these guys are cultural icons, man.
Yeah, I was just pointing out the fact that
you can't really understand it sometimes.
It wasn't something that just started today.
Hey, what about Prince? What about Prince?
For tracks ever since.
What about Prince?
Prince, he's an artist. He actually sings.
Oh, okay.
He probably a couple times is screaming unnecessary.
I was gonna say he screams too, man. Come on, man. I like Prince, but he hit that he screams too.
He's definitely screamed unnecessarily sometimes, but still iconic. But James Brown by far to me is the one that is all right. Some of it is that's.
Nah, man. You know what? You need to sit down and watch. You need to sit down and watch his life story.
I did. That's part of the
and matter of fact, your boy plays in it, Chadwick Boseman. So you need to sit down and watch that, man. But he was brilliant. Yeah, he off stage. He had some issues. But come on, dude. But he was a performer, man.
That's like Kanye West.
I was just about to say that, like Kanye. Yeah,
it ain't close again.
off the stages.
Yeah, it's 8:30. It's time to go on that note. Come on, man. How can you can't even compare James Brown to Kanye West. Now we got a comedy show here. What? Kanye West. What?
Listen, You made it sound just like that.
No, I didn't. I said there's so many artists who had things going on off, but they were brilliant. I mean, come on, James Brown is an icon. Yeah, I mean, granted, the music was a little different back then, but he was an icon, man. People drove across the country to see dude perform.
There's people that do that for Kanye West.
People packed places, man. He got to play in places sometimes that typically didn't have black people play.
I've seen it where they asked him a question and he didn't want to answer. He just
and he crossed over. He was a crossover artist. White people liked his music too.
But I wanted to close out before my phone dies, guys.
Go ahead, man, because y'all ain't gonna be jumping on my dude, man.
No, I love this conversation about talking about music, man. Like, because there's so many different ways that we can look at it. Certainly from kind of past music that we grew up listening to, that you probably grew up listening to as well. But I mean, certainly the new music that we have today, I would like probably a little bit more. Like I think. As we all kind of stated today, like, I don't think we have.
Check it out.
I am your weatherman, Busta Rhymes. I've come today to give you your weather forecast. Today looks like one of those beautiful days. To be perfectly honest, there ain't a cloud in the sky. This is the kind of weather that
hold up, Luther coming.
Beach, lay it down and talk to her. Luther, step to the microphone. When I wake up in the morning.
To be fair, I wouldn't want to hear this either.
Then tell me something. Yo, dude, that's pretty good, man. Come on. Anyway, time has passed. Chris' energy must have ran out because he's gone. Oh, he's still there. He's gone. But anyway, another great show, man. We have fun, man. Looking forward to Chris coming back next week.
Yeah.
Hopefully be live in the studio, man. We appreciate you guys, especially the comments, man. And do your part, man. Tell them what they need to do.
Like, follow, subscribe, share, comment, interact with us. If you have any suggestions for any topics, let us know. We're on all platforms.
And just know that was a classic by Chance. And the person with the remark about you couldn't understand, he's gone, man. That was funny. Another great episode of Above Average Black Men. See you next week. Same time, same place. That was actually pretty good. That was funny.
It's true, though.
You can't understand how they go.
That's it. A lot of people enjoying life.
Music is a topic that a lot of people will talk about because it's such a broad topic, and especially people of color. Music has always meant so much to us. It's the way we told our stories. It's the way we celebrate. It's what do we do? When in sports and stuff, we dance. It's always been a meaningful part of our culture. It has changed and evolved, to a point where I don't like it. I think it's a shame that is mostly all negative.